She was 23 years old on a family vacation, sailing through the Caribbean on one of the largest cruise ships in the world. She had spent the evening with her family, dancing, laughing, drinking, doing exactly what you do on the last night of a cruise when the trip is almost over and everyone is still riding the high of a week at sea. Her father walked her back to the cabin at around 2:30 in the morning. She was tired. She was ready for sleep. The ship was docking in Curaçao in a few hours, and the family would be heading home to Virginia. He kissed her goodnight. He went to sleep. When he woke up 4 hours later, Amy was gone. Not just gone from the cabin, gone from the ship, gone from every security camera, gone from every passenger manifest check, gone from every search of every deck and every corridor and every corner of a vessel carrying nearly 2,500 passengers and over 900 crew members. Amy Lynn Bradley walked out of her cabin sometime in the early hours of March 24, 1998, and vanished from the face of the earth. She has never been found. Here is what makes this case different from almost every other disappearance you will ever hear about. She has been seen since. Multiple times, in multiple locations, by multiple witnesses who had no connection to each other. Someone out there knows exactly where Amy Bradley is. And for over 25 years, that person has stayed silent. This is her story. And I want you to pay very close attention because the details of what happened after she disappeared are unlike anything else in the history of missing persons cases. Amy Lynn Bradley was born on May 12, 1974, in Henrico County, Virginia. She grew up in a close and loving family. Her father, Ron, was a devoted dad who coached her sports teams and was by every account her biggest supporter. Her mother, Cheryl, and her younger brother, Brad, were equally close to her. By 1998, Amy was 23 years old, recently graduated, and working in human resources. She was athletic and outgoing, and by all descriptions, the kind of person who lit up a room without trying. She played guitar. She loved music. She had a small tattoo of the Chinese symbol for strength on her shoulder, and another tattoo on her ankle. She had a distinctive birthmark. In March of 1998, the Bradley family booked a cruise on the Royal Caribbean vessel Rhapsody of the Seas. It was a family vacation, the kind of trip families take to celebrate and reconnect. They departed from San Juan, Puerto Rico, and sailed through the Caribbean, stopping at various islands before the final destination of Curaçao. By all accounts, the trip had been wonderful. The family had enjoyed every stop. Amy had been having the time of her life. On the final evening of the cruise, March 23, 1998, Amy spent the night socializing. She spent time with a band called Blue Orchid that had been performing on the ship throughout the week. She danced. She had drinks. Multiple passengers and crew members saw her that evening, and later confirmed she seemed happy and relaxed and in good spirits. Her father, Ron, walked her back to the family cabin at around 2:30 in the morning. He watched her lie down on the balcony lounge chair to get some air before coming inside to sleep. He went to his own bed. At approximately 6 a.m., Ron Bradley woke up. Amy was not in the cabin. He checked the balcony. Empty. He checked the bathroom. Empty. He checked the corridors near the cabin. Nothing. The family immediately alerted ship security. What happened next has been criticized heavily by the Bradley family and by investigators who later reviewed the case. Royal Caribbean's initial response to Amy's disappearance was, according to the family, inadequate and slow. The ship docked in Curaçao as scheduled. Passengers were allowed to disembark. The ship was not locked down. The passenger manifest was not immediately secured in a way that would have prevented someone from leaving with Amy or leaving ahead of any investigation. Local authorities in Curaçao were eventually notified. The FBI became involved, given that Amy was an American citizen. But the critical first hours, the hours that matter most in any disappearance, had passed in a way that the family believed was mishandled from the start. Security footage from the ship was reviewed. And here is where the first truly disturbing detail of this case emerges. There was footage of Amy on the ship in the early morning hours after her father had left her on the balcony. She was seen on deck. She appeared to be with members of the Blue Orchid Band, the musicians she had spent time with that evening. The footage showed her alive and moving on the ship after her family had last seen her. And then the footage ends. She was not seen on any camera leaving the ship. She was not seen on any camera after a certain point in the early morning hours. She was simply gone. The investigation expanded quickly once the FBI took over. The members of the Blue Orchid Band were interviewed. They confirmed spending time with Amy that evening. Their accounts of exactly when they last saw her and what she had been doing were inconsistent in ways that investigators noted carefully. One band member in particular gave an account that raised significant questions. He claimed Amy had been fine when he last saw her, but the timeline he provided did not fully align with other witness accounts or with the security footage. No charges were ever filed against any member of the band, but the inconsistencies in their accounts have remained a subject of scrutiny for anyone who has studied this case closely. Passengers who had been on the ship were contacted and interviewed after the fact. Several came forward with information that deepened the mystery considerably. One passenger reported seeing a woman matching Amy's description on the dock in Curaçao in the early morning hours, before the ship had officially begun disembarking. She appeared to be with a man. The passenger thought nothing of it at the time. Another passenger reported seeing a woman matching Amy's description being helped along by two men on the dock, appearing disoriented or unwell. These accounts could not be definitively confirmed, but they pointed in a direction that the Bradley family became increasingly convinced represented the truth of what had happened to their daughter. Amy Bradley had not fallen overboard. She had not wandered off in a confused state. She had been taken off that ship, and she had been taken somewhere specific by people who knew exactly what they were doing. In the years following Amy's disappearance, a series of sightings emerged that transformed this case from a maritime mystery into something far darker. Something that, when you understand what it implies, is almost impossible to sit with. Approximately 1 year after Amy disappeared, an American couple vacationing in Barbados were at a beach resort. A young woman approached the man while he was alone. She said her name was Amy. She said she was from Virginia. She said she had been kidnapped and that she needed help. Before she could say anything more, two men appeared. They took her by the arms and walked her away. She looked back over her shoulder. She did not come back. The couple reported the encounter to authorities. The description of the woman matched Amy Bradley. The details she had given in those few seconds, her name, Virginia, matched perfectly. If that account is accurate, Amy Bradley was alive at least 1 year after she disappeared. She was in Barbados. She was with men who controlled her movements, and she was desperate enough to approach a stranger on a beach and identify herself by name. That account has never been definitively confirmed, but it has never been definitively disproven either. In 2005, 7 years after Amy disappeared, a United States Navy sailor contacted the Bradley family. He had been on shore leave in Curaçao. He had visited an establishment that the family and investigators have confirmed was connected to the commercial sex trade. While there, he encountered a young woman. She told him her name was Amy. She told him she was being held against her will. She begged him to help her. He was frightened. He left without helping her. When he saw Amy Bradley's face on a missing persons flyer sometime later, he recognized her immediately. He came forward and told the Bradley family what he had seen. His account was investigated. The establishment he described was located and investigated. By the time investigators got there, the trail had gone cold. But the implication of his account, combined with the Barbados sighting 1 year after her disappearance, pointed toward a conclusion that the Bradley family and law enforcement came to believe was the most likely explanation for what happened to Amy. She had been trafficked, taken from that cruise ship in the early morning hours of March 24, 1998, moved through a network that operated across the Caribbean, and forced into circumstances from which she could not escape. That conclusion, if accurate, means that Amy Bradley was not just a missing person. She was a victim of one of the most heinous crimes that exists. And it means that the people who took her had planned it, executed it on a vessel carrying thousands of people, and gotten away with it completely. In 2012, 14 years after Amy disappeared, a photograph surfaced online. It was posted on an adult website. The woman in the photograph bore a striking resemblance to Amy Bradley. She had similar features, similar build, similar tattoos in similar locations. The Bradley family examined the photograph. They believed it was Amy. The FBI examined the photograph. They were unable to definitively confirm or deny that the woman was Amy Bradley. The website it appeared on was taken down. The source of the photograph was never identified. the woman in it, was never found. That photograph remains one of the most haunting pieces of evidence in a case full of haunting evidence. Because if it was Amy, it means she was alive 14 years after she disappeared. It means she had been held somewhere for 14 years. And it means that whoever held her had enough confidence in their ability to contain her that they were not afraid of a photograph existing. The Bradley family has never stopped searching. Ron Bradley, Amy's father, has spent over 25 years doing everything a father can do to find his daughter. He has traveled to the Caribbean. He has worked with investigators and advocates. He has appeared on every platform that would have him. He has kept Amy's face in front of the public through every means available. He has said publicly that he believes Amy is alive. He has said that he believes she is being held somewhere in the Caribbean, possibly in a country where the reach of American law enforcement is limited. He has said that he will never stop looking. The FBI has Amy Bradley listed as an active missing persons case. Her file has never been closed. She would be 50 years old today. If she is alive, she has spent more than half of her life in circumstances that no human being should ever have to endure. She has been separated from a family that loves her with an intensity that has not diminished by a single degree in over 2 decades. She approached a stranger on a beach in Barbados and said her name out loud, hoping it would save her. It did not save her that day, but it told the world that she was there, that she was fighting, that she had not given up. There are people who know what happened to Amy Bradley. There are people who know where she was taken, who took her, and what happened to her in the years since. Some of those people may have been involved. Some may simply know. Some may be afraid. Some may believe that enough time has passed that this case has been forgotten. It has not been forgotten. The FBI tip line for Amy Bradley's case is still active. If you have any information, any at all, about the disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradley or her whereabouts, you can contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. Her case number is available through the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at missingkids.org. She was 23 years old. She had her whole life in front of her. And somewhere between a cabin on a cruise ship and the port of Curaçao, in the early hours of a March morning, someone decided that her life belonged to them. They were wrong. Her name is Amy Lynn Bradley. She is from Virginia. She plays guitar. She has a tattoo of the Chinese symbol for strength on her shoulder. Say her name. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe the sighting accounts? Do you think Amy is still alive? Do you think the cruise line and the initial investigation failed her? This is a case that deserves every conversation it can get. Because somewhere out there, someone knows something. And the right person seeing this video and reading the right comment might be the thing that finally brings her home. Subscribe to the Unsolved Vault. Hit the bell. We are here every Tuesday and Friday. If you have a case you think we should cover, drop it in the comments. We will be back very soon.